This is Callan Diggs of reachingthefinishline.com, helping you to reach the finish line. And in this video, I want to shed some light, insight actually, of something Kanye West recently said about slavery. Let's take a listen.
When you hear about slavery for 400 years, for 400 years, that sounds like a choice. It's like we're mentally in prison.
I don't want to beat the dead horse. Many people on the internet, mainstream news, have already made their comments, called him names. But the insight in the comment paints a powerful lesson that I want to share with you. On the most basic level, there was a choice. And these slaves have made those choices. For example, some slaves tried to run away. Some slaves tried to fight back. Some slaves committed suicide because they thought, they would rather in their life than to continue to live as a slave. Now, none of those were good options, obviously. None of those, no one wanted to make those choices. But at the most basic level, there was a choice. And there are multiple accounts throughout history of slaves doing this. Africans weren't the only slaves. There were other ethnicities that were slaves as well. But many of them, they took the long-term view. They have family that they love and cared about. And they were optimistic that it would eventually end. And it did for them. But unfortunately, slavery continues to persist. Still a relevant example in this modern era is in North Korea. But there is another type of slavery, a slavery that people willingly sign up for, and a slavery that boggles the minority, people like myself, of why these people subject themselves to this type of slavery. I'm talking about being a slave to consumerism, materialism, maintaining a status, keeping up with the Joneses, as they say, trying to buy things to impress people who really don't care anyway, buying things to fill the void of not feeling worthy, of thinking that buying these things will gain you love, will gain you respect. And in reality, it may alleviate it temporarily, but it just creates a bigger hole, which makes a person need to buy more stuff to continue to fill that void. It's a perpetual cycle. And unfortunately, many people confine themselves to a life of misery. They take out these big loans, whether it's a mortgage or for a car payment. And the more things they take out on credit, the more financial responsibilities that they accrue, the more they have to work. So you have to work more hours. You have to work harder. Then they have to work to get another promotion, or to get a raise, to work even harder to pay for these things. But in reality, these people, they work harder and then they upgrade by getting even a bigger house, or getting even a fancier car, or living even a more lavish lifestyle. But the more they do that, the less time they're able to actually even appreciate those things. What's the point of buying a BMW if you're only driving it to work. Yeah, you may get 1 or 2 weeks of vacation, but is it really worth that? To drive a luxury car 1 to 2 weeks leisurely outside of work? What's the point of working so much and you just bought this new house and you can't enjoy it because you're always at work? So this is an ever-growing type of slavery that is unfortunately hurting humanity. But many people subject themselves to this. And there is a better way. In previous videos, I talk about living simply, minimalism. I talk about reaching the finish line. Well, in order to do so, if you want a higher quality of life, how about starting with creating more freedom in your life? It's hard to have freedom when you have a lot of financial responsibilities and you're not making a lot of money. And you have to either work harder or get another job to maintain those financial responsibilities. How about you remove those financial responsibilities and create more financial freedom? Removing those financial responsibilities allows you to save more money. You can save that money, you can invest that money. By you living minimally, you could downsize, you can sell these things, which allow you to save more money. And you can still live a higher quality of life when you look at lifestyles a bit differently. A condo, is that really necessary? And where you can have a small apartment, or you can live abroad in a country with a lower cost of living? These are things that I want you to consider. In the latter part of the comment, Kanye West said, we're mentally in prison. The majority of society is. Because it lives off of consumerism, materialism. And when the economy is up, many people, they spend like there's no limit. And when the economy is down, many people do the same, but not as much. But as much as they possibly can, obviously, once their bills are paid. But then these are the same people who are unfulfilled in their lives. And instead of them putting in the work, they feel that buying this new toy will take their mind off of it, allow them to live a bit. But unfortunately, they put themselves on a perpetual cycle to misery. And that's not how you reach the finish line. If you want to reach the finish line, you can start by going to reachingthefinishline.com. And until next time, I hope you're reaching your finish line.